As you're now moving into your month of May, moving into the solidification of your process where that is concerned, the solidification of the beingness of who you are where that is concerned. Many now have moved to a place where they are fully honoring and valuing who they are, moving into the full beingness of who they are, releasing their attachments to the third dimensional realm outside of themselves, meaning releasing looking outside of yourself for validation and gratification. When we speak about attachments, dear one, this is what we speak about to you where that is concerned. Opening up to the depth and breadth of your heart space in the full beingness of self and releasing your attachments to the third dimensional realm outside of yourself to move into a place of a full, sustaining, authentic, and transparent being as the adult where that is concerned. So you can move on the pathway of life fully being who you are, radiating you out into the world where that is concerned in a self-sustained, self-encompassing place that you have never experienced before where that is concerned. And as you move into your month of May, many are beginning to fully feel that where that is concerned. Many have released the need to prove themselves in the world outside of themselves. Many have released the need to look for gratification outside of themselves. Many have released the need to move for validation outside of themselves where that is concerned. And what is transpiring for many now, as you move into this place, your resonance and vibration shifts and changes. And as we've been saying to you all along, dear ones, for many millenniums where that is concerned, it is about moving into this self-sustaining pace of who you are being, without needing to look outside of yourself to prove yourself to others, to gain validation from others outside of yourself, and gain gratification from others outside of yourself. If you have moved into and diligently did the work in your vernacular, the personal process where that is concerned, you are now moving into the fruition of that work. We will say that again, dear ones. You're moving into the fruition of that work where that is concerned. It doesn't mean, dear ones, that you ignore the self, ignore the remnants of wounding that will surface from time to time, ignore the remnants of trauma that will surface from time to time. But what you are now doing is, as we said to you, dear ones, at the end of your year of 2025, moving into your year of 2026 in January, you are now beginning to close the old doors behind you in your life. You are now beginning to close the old doors behind you to the old you, the wounded you, the traumatic you, and utilize all of those tools that you've gained in the personal journey of yourself. So you are now moving into the fruition of the full beingness of who you are. Many are closing those doors. Many are closing those doors and locking them tight where that is concerned. Many continue to look over their shoulder because they're moving into a new being of self that they have never experienced before. So there's trepidation out into that world where that is concerned. And what you're seeing shift is your relationship to the world outside of yourself. What you are seeing also is your relationship to others, standing in a powerfulness of self. As we explained to you in your month of April where that is concerned, what power is. The powerfulness of knowing who you are. The powerfulness of loving, honoring, and valuing who you are. And many are standing firm in that place, setting and creating new boundaries where that is concerned. So what is transpiring for many is a forward movement on the pathway into the unknown of the new life where that is concerned, the new beingness of self where that is concerned. And with that, you are feeling a powerfulness of self, and thus be able to look at your residual attachments to the third dimensional realm where that is concerned. What are those residual attachments that you have to the third dimensional realm outside of yourself where that is concerned? As we explained to you, dear ones, it's not so much about separating yourself from what is transpiring in the world outside of yourself. It's not so much about separating yourself from relationships that no longer resonate where that is concerned. It is simply about looking at it as what it is where that is concerned. Looking at others where they are in their process where that is concerned. Without the need to isolate and separate yourselves from them, you're simply shifting and changing that relationship. The relationship with others, and making choices. If in fact those wonderful and most glorious souls with whom you had been in a relationship with, you are making the choice to see if that relationship can exist based upon where you are right now. You're also looking at what's transpiring in the third dimensional realm outside of yourself and asking yourself, what is my new relationship to that where that is concerned, based upon to the newness of the self, the new powerfulness of self where that is concerned. As we asked you many, many times before, is what is transpiring in the third dimensional realm dictating the way in which you live your life where that is concerned? Or you're fully taking responsibility for yourself. Responsibility for your life, responsibility for where you are, and standing in the power of responsibility. Many are taking on new responsibilities in their life where that is concerned. So as you move into your month of May, dear ones, it is about moving into the powerfulness of self, as if you are crossing a new threshold, dear ones. Many are questioning, in many ways, what is this? Moving into extended periods of joyousness within themselves. And they ask the question, what is this? What is this joyousness? What is this joyousness attached to? What did I do to feel this joyousness within inside of me? It is simply a raising of your resonance and vibration, dear ones, and looking at what is in your life. With gratitude. Joyousness is a moment of sustaining energy that is where your resonance and vibration is raising and there's no attachment to it. It just is. So many are finding that joyousness inside of themselves, an elation, a high vibrational energy that many feel in their solar plexus, that is radiating outward in their physical bodies. And they question what that is. Which brings up old trauma, quite possibly, and old wounding, quite possibly. Be in that joyousness, dear ones. For it is a feeling that you may never have experienced before because you were taught that there were attachments to it. What did I do to deserve feeling this? As you would if you were feeling angry or sad. What did I do to deserve these feelings? But many avoid the feeling of joyousness because it is new and it is unknown. Be in those feelings, dear one. Allow those feelings, for that is just what they are. These feelings have no attachments to what is transpiring in your life outside of yourself. These feelings move through you and raise your resonance and vibration as they move through you into the fruition of the self where that is concerned. So as you move into your month of May, dear ones, allow yourself to feel the feelings that are surfacing. And if you look at what they may be or what you think they are attached to, move that to the fore of your consciousness. Move it to the fore of your consciousness. There are no attachments, dear ones. You may be stimulated outside of yourself. However, dear ones, you are finding that organically and naturally feelings surface. And you may think there are attachments to those feelings, but they aren't, dear ones. You may see what is transpiring in the world outside of you that initiates or triggers those feelings. Allow that, dear one. And ask yourself, what am I feeling? Many think that there's something they need to do with those feelings. I need to share these feelings with others. And when you do that, dear ones, you miss, in your vernacular, the moments of feeling those feelings for yourself. If something transpires in your life that is joyous, dear ones, enjoy that for yourself, dear ones. For you have moved through a process, a deep personal process, to now begin to give to yourself, dear ones. Allow the moments of euphoria and joy to be there, dear ones. For in many ways, you have earned that in your personal process. Ask yourself if you are avoiding those feelings of joyousness. Ask yourself if you're avoiding any of the feelings that are surfacing inside of yourself. Be aware of what triggers those feelings, and be with that as well, dear ones. But many are finding feelings surfacing without being triggered in the world outside of yourself. They just are. So be with that, dear ones. As you move through your month of May, this, dear one, is another level of powerfulness. I am allowing the feelings that are surfacing within inside of me to be there, utilizing my tools to allow that energy to pass through me. In many ways, if you're feeling any side effects physically from that in your vernacular, ask yourself those questions as well. So as you move, dear ones, gracefully through your month of May into the fruition of the beingness of self, many are moving through the new doorways, not quite sure what is on the other side of that doorway, not quite sure who they should be on the other side of that doorway, and many are walking around looking at the world outside of them as if they were a newborn babe. Allow that, dear ones, because you are being reborn into the remembrance of who you are.